Hey everyone, Video Master here with a short little review, which probably means I'm going to prattle on for far too long. I recently got to play both DLC for Castlevania Lords of Shadows, and I wanted to go ahead and give my impressions on them, and just a few tidbits about what I thought of the main game. Pretty much to start everything off, are they worth your money? Depends on how big of a Castlevania fan you are, especially for the first one. Pretty much, when I beat this game, I really enjoyed it, but I was kind of disappointed in the ending, especially the secret video, or the final video, because I really didn't see Gabrielle doing that. And I mean, I know you get I think, is it Zodek or Zobek? I forget which right now. I should have looked it up before I did this. But like Zodek, I'm going to call him that. And I know he says what Gabrielle is feeling throughout the entire game, but I always just kind of figured that he was just kind of prattling on. And he didn't really know how Gabrielle was feeling. I don't know, it's just, this is somebody else saying how somebody's feeling and not the main character themselves. And I just, by the end of the game, I saw that final movie, and I was like, that kind of ruined it for me. Because I was like, Gabrielle did that? I mean, I know the ending was kind of bittersweet, but I just don't see him doing this. So I was really looking forward to the DLC that was supposed to explain it all. And Revive came out, I downloaded it, I played it. For the exception of the story and like some of the puzzles and the whole thing that you get to play as Laura a couple of times, and I'm pretty sure that's her name. It wasn't really worth the money, I think. Especially the Leviathan part where you're running across the water. I mean, that looked cool, but it's too easy to fuck up and get killed by a Leviathan because it immediately eats you. And the fact that we didn't have some sort of battle against one of these things was a disappointment to me. I was really hoping, okay, maybe I can fight the Leviathan, but no, it doesn't happen. And it's just, like, the whole, especially some of the parkour stuff that you're doing in that level, especially the wall of blades that you gotta speed up and slow down, I did not like that part at all. It was just not that fun. And there's the whole trial things. Like, get through it without ever getting hit by a blade, and without slowing it down. Yes, fuck that. Half these trials are just like, I don't have time to deal with this, but that one was especially like, no, I'm not doing that. And pretty much, especially what kind of pisses me off is that it's just 2 levels for what you're paying for. I really think it should have been 3 for both, but I can let it get away with 2. It takes a lot. Resurrection, on the other hand, I enjoyed much more. However, there's one major point between the two that I want to go and address. I personally did not care for the whole art style moving portrait thing. Yeah, you can tell that I didn't script this because I just said, the whole, in the main game, it's, you know, in-game graphics that they show all the storyline with, and if it's not in-game graphics and it's CGI, they do a damn good job in transitioning between the two, but I'm pretty sure it's in-game graphics. And that's how all the story takes place. The only time I remember you ever seeing the drawn art style stuff is when they're like showing you the land at those points, like, you know, here's the map and here's the land and you can see it. But like, otherwise it was always in-game graphics for all of the cutscenes. And then suddenly this comes out and it's the hand-painted stuff. And I don't know, it felt cheap to me. I don't know if that's actually harder to do than just using the in-game graphic stuff, they get him to move the way you want. I really don't know. I guess it was the art style they were going for. Me personally, had that been how the main game went, I would have been able to accept it much more, but it's not. They used in-game graphics, and that's just my personal gripe about it is that I wanted to see it all as the same. It didn't seem to flow right for me, but I'm going too long on that. That aside, I really liked how the storyline unfolded in Revive. It definitely got me to want to play Resurrection, and it kind of... Well, it made me not regret my purchase, though still... The general gameplay of Revive is just not worth it, in my opinion. There's a few parts that are pretty good. You'll like them, but otherwise, yeah. I really can't suggest spending $10 on that DLC unless either you've just got the money lying around, or you're a huge fan of Castlevania or a huge fan of this game. And I'm a huge fan of Castlevania, and I really did like this game. Why I went for it. For me, it would have been worth it just for the storyline, but you could just YouTube it if you're really that curious. Resurrection, on the other hand, much better executed. Still got some of those annoying parkour stuff where you're jumping and suddenly you gotta avoid being seen by the Forgotten One, which if he sees you, he kills you in one hit. That can be annoying, and I can honestly see why people would not like that. And I'm holding it in front of my face. That's really smart. But I'm going to put this down so I stop doing that. But I didn't have too much of a problem with it. There were a couple parts where I'm just like, this is not fun. There's a whole point where you're jumping from... Excuse me for a second. There's a whole thing where you're jumping from like these lava blocks that are floating. You got to stay behind the Forgotten One. That's a bit tricky, and it can get a bit annoying. There's also other parts where they don't really tell you what to do while you're doing this stuff. There's like a part where you jump onto the wall, and it doesn't look like you can go anywhere, and it turns out as the Forgotten One hits like the wall or something, parts of it crumble off, and it creates new ledges, and you're supposed to jump up there. And then there's a point where you're supposed to like run to the left and hide behind the corner so he doesn't see you. How he doesn't fucking see you when he's like right below you, I don't know, but hey. That part was annoying because I didn't know what I was supposed to do when I first got there and you died. And they really need to point that out more. So there's a few gameplay parts in Resurrection that unfortunately still have flaws. There's some stuff in the main game that had its flaws, so I can kind of forgive it. I definitely say it was worth my $10. I really enjoyed the Forgotten One boss battles. You fight him twice. I loved it both times. I also really loved that there was more in-game graphic cutscenes in Resurrection, even if at the end they do the stupid drawing crap again, which is... I already got on that. The boss fight itself, I've heard mixed stuff from other people, reviews from other people. I was on the game FAQ boards looking up something for the boss battle because apparently I was doing something wrong, and I'll get to that. But a lot of people said that they liked the challenge of the main game, but when they got to when they played this one, they said just like, you know, Forgotten was just impossible, or he's really difficult. I think part of it has to do that they were trying to do it on the highest difficulty in some of the threads that I read, but I really didn't see him as being all that difficult. I really enjoyed the battle. I found it fairly easy. I mean, well, not easy, but I found it fairly moderate in its challenge. It did take me a while to kill him, and the only tactic that you really have is you got to run up, hit him a few times, and then jump back to dodge whatever attack he does. And I think that's where I was seeing a lot of people had problems with. I don't have a problem with that type of boss battle. It's not a race. But that's just me. The one part that I was having a problem with, though, that I'll go ahead and mention just so nobody else has it, there's a part where he throws these rocks out and he starts electrocuting them. And then if he electrocutes them again, they turn into a lake of molten lava that you can't step in. Obviously. It doesn't kill you, it just hurts you. But you're supposed, when he electrocutes one of those, you're supposed to use the gauntlet power to knock the rock into him. I guess if you charge up using Y, the rocks just explode, and you've got to charge up using X, which nobody really verified that on the board when I was looking up. It was like, why are the rocks exploding when I punch them? The game itself tells you should hit them back with the gauntlet. And I'm like, I'm doing that. They're exploding. It's also probably because I haven't played the game in a while. I mean, the DLC came out. I was like, oh, I'm going to play this, and barely played it like a few days ago. I've ended up okay. Bottom line, the play time you're going to get out of these is 4 hours if you're lucky, and that's both together, not separate. I maybe played Resurrection for a couple of hours, maybe 2.5 at the most. I managed to beat the boss after 10 minutes after a friend came over, and that was the whole reason I was playing the game, because I was just wasting time until he came over, so, you know, we could play a different game. But that was pretty much my experience. It was about 4 hours altogether. The storyline is very good. It redeemed the ending in my eyes. I'm actually very much looking forward to the sequel to this game. I can see how Gabrielle ended up there now. Like I said, that was my main problem. The first game didn't really give you that. Personally, I see that as the major flaw of these DLCs, is the fact that you have to have them for the extra story, for it all really to make sense. And I really don't think that's how you should do a game, but I can kind of see where they were going. I think it kind of failed a little, but oh well. It did get me to buy it, so hey, it worked. But pretty much, is it worth your money? It just boils down to, are you a Castlevania fan? Were you a fan of this game? If you just kind of liked it, I wouldn't waste your money. It's not really worth it. The gameplay levels are just annoying. They're frustrating at times, and they're just passable at best. Like I said, the Leviathan area was just annoying. The whole parkour, don't let the Forgotten One see you, was just kind of annoying. And it just was not fun. I'm used to having that in games, I guess. I don't know. I'm able to muscle through them without too much difficulty, but I wasn't having a blast doing this, and I don't want to do it again. And that's the major issue. When you don't want to do something again in a game, that's a game flaw. That's how I felt when I fought the Spider Guardian in Metroid Prime Echoes. I never want to fight him again. That's a game flaw. That's pretty much it. My final verdict is, if you've got the spare money, go ahead and try them out if you liked the game. If you didn't like the game, or if you're just like, if you're hoping that this would be a really awesome DLC, and it would be leagues above what the game was, you're going to be disappointed. So, that should hopefully give you an idea of whether or not you want to go and take the plunge on this. I would probably pass, really. If that's all you're looking for is just a really great fun time, pass. You only really want to play it for the storyline. Well, Resurrection, I would give a try, because like I said, I really did enjoy the boss battle. There's not as much of the annoying, you gotta dodge this shit, as was in Revive. And being able to play as Laura for a couple of times isn't really worth it. Especially when a couple of her parts are kind of annoying, like the kill the ghouls and fill up the stupid blood thing. That was more annoying than it was fun. But hey. Well, that's it for this little review of the DLC. I probably went on way longer than I intended, but I'll go ahead and cut it off now. Night.